Well, eNews reporter Robyn Kriel was among those chosen to participate in the Young African Women's Leaders Forum, which Michelle Obama has been heavily involved with. And the US First Lady paid tribute to Robyn during her speech, praising her courageous reporting on the crisis in Zimbabwe. Take a listen.
And then there's Robyn Kriel. She's a young reporter from Zimbabwe who has written about corruption and human rights abuses in her country. She was beaten by police, her home raided, her mother imprisoned. But she still hasn't lost her passion for reporting because, as she put it, the people of Zimbabwe want their stories to be told. And no one would have blamed Robyn. Where's Robyn? No one would have blamed Robyn if, after all she'd been through, she decided to quit reporting and pursue an easier career. But these young women, and these are just examples of stories that go on and on, these young women could not be content with their own comfort and success when they knew that other people were struggling. You see, that's how people of conscience view the world.
And Robyn joined us now to talk about this remarkable and historic moment. Robyn, good morning. I think a lot of people want to know what was going through your mind when you obviously knew that there was going to be reference made. And I remember chatting to you the day before, and you said, they phoned me, but I'm not sure if it's even going to make it, so I'm not really going to say anything. And then she goes on and makes a tribute like this. It wasn't just a drive-through mention, if you will. It was a significant mention about the work that you and your mother have done in your country. How did you feel about it?
To be honest, when she said my name, I just was in absolute shock, and I couldn't. I mean, Iman, you were at this forum. I mean, the young women at this forum were amazing, and I mean to be mentioned by someone like Michelle Obama, who's sitting next to Graça Machel and Baleka Mbete and Mvula Mokhonyane. I mean, just being in the presence of such strong women and being called out like that, I was so humbled and just really shocked. And all I could keep telling myself was, "Don't cry." Don't cry.
Well, the waterworks were switched on afterwards, I suppose, Robyn. But, talk about what this meant for your family. Did your mom get in touch? I'm sure your phone was lighting up all the time with people wanting to congratulate you.
Yeah, it was so nice. And, I mean, it really took me back when she said all that stuff about what happened in Zimbabwe in 2007, 2008. It took me back to sort of that time in Zimbabwe, which was a really, really tough time for journalists and a really tough time for women. The story that she was referring to when I got beaten up and when my house was raided was to do with the Women of Zimbabwe Arise, which is a women's activist group that would go onto the streets during the toughest times in Zimbabwe and protest. And oftentimes they were beaten, very badly by police, and I happened to be caught up in one of those marches. The difference is that I'm now here living in Johannesburg, and I don't have to deal with that stuff anymore. There are still women, the unsung heroes of Zimbabwe that live there through the power cuts, through the water cuts, through, without having any money to pay their children's school fees, without being able to put food on the table. They are the true heroes, and I'm glad that she mentioned Zimbabwe, that got some exposure, because the situation continues there.
What happens to their stories now? How do you feel about the fact that, in a sense, you are disconnected from what is happening there in work that was important?
I'm really sad that I'm not doing more reports from Zimbabwe. I mean, it has been an accreditation issue. The last time that I applied for accreditation, it was denied by the Zimbabwean government. So I'll keep applying. I'll keep hoping to tell those stories, and I definitely keep in touch with everyone there. I go home as often as possible to see my family and see all my friends. So it's a very real situation for me and my family.
Well, the one reason this platform was created as well was the Young African Women's Leadership Forum, which is what we both participated in. You were part of a group as well of 25 women from all over who were discussing issues that are key to women. How would you like to see the cause of young, powerful African women advance today? And what would be the vehicle for that?
We were asked that question last night in the sort of wrap-up dinner, and I mean, the response from the women were amazing. They were from South Africa, Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe. I mean, from all over, and such strong, level-headed, humble women that have done such amazing things. I mean, that woman from Uganda who started up her own fish and chicken business when she was an orphan. I mean, just amazing little stories like that. That as a journalist, it was a field day for me. I was having such fun meeting all these women, and I'm going to hopefully tell those stories in the future of those women. What would I like to see going forward? We were talking last night about possibly forming some kind of a group that, sort of some kind of advocacy group that we could, touch on not only women's issues, but issues that face all young people in Africa. And I think with such a diverse crowd, and I mean, you've got everyone from your media professionals to NGOs, I mean, with such a diverse crowd, politicians, I mean, there were people from the South African government, from the Ugandan, from the Mozambican government. With such a diverse crowd, you've got to be able to get stuff done, and we've got to advance the cause. We've got to take the reins, essentially, in South Africa, as Michelle Obama said yesterday, and it's a very unique way to do it. It was so fabulous.
With women like you amongst their ranks, I'm sure we'll be looking out for great stuff.
And you.
Robyn, thank you. The Mutual Admiration Club. Robyn, good luck, and thanks very much for that. And I'm sure it was just, it was a wonderful moment. Taking away everything else and all the significance. To be mentioned, you must have had a really great sleep last night.
I didn't have very much sleep. I couldn't sleep. I was too excited.
Okay, Robyn, we'll let you get back to the field. We've got work to do.
Thank you.
eNews reporter Robyn Kriel.